would go back anytime. So it was wonderful. That's a good example of the kinds of things that we would be doing on a trip like that.
So you look for different destinations and everything, and probably, have you ever repeated a destination?
Oh, sure.
Have you?
We repeat New York City a lot for a couple reasons, and this is something that I remember a high school teacher once told me. He said, New York is the largest living museum in the world, and you could go to New York 20 times and it will always be different. You never know what's going to happen in New York, whether you go for the shopping or Broadway or for cultural experiences. And when we go to New York, we try to change it every time so that every time you go, you can expect something different. We did a walking tour through Greenwich Village. And when I say walking tour, it was actually a food tasting tour. And most people have a stereotype of West Virginia, of New York City for sure, and West Virginia. But we took this group and we walked them through Greenwich Village, and when they saw the beautiful cobble streets and they tasted all this exotic food from different countries, they were so thrilled, and they probably wouldn't have gone there on their own. But now, every time they go back, now they say, I went back, I brought my family, it was we did the same thing, it was fun.
I think a lot of people from West Virginia would be quite intimidated by New York just looking at it. But I know for a fact, I had the opportunity, my son Michael lived there for a while, and I know when I went up there to visit him, I thought, what are you doing up here? But after being there, I became quite comfortable with it, and I'm sure that the idea that you put a guided tour together and everything else, that people would feel very safe with that. Sherry, it sounds like you do some fantastic things on these trips and everything, but the world's become quite an economic center to the point where everything is starting to get, the amount of money that's being spent and everything's being cut back. Tell me about the cost of your trips.
Okay, I'm glad you asked that, because we work very hard. West Virginia University, as you know, is about education. But we also are a land-grant university, and we do understand the fact that we're living in tough economic times. When we put a trip together, we are definitely looking at the fact that people really can't afford big, extravagant trips. So our trips aren't about that. Our trips are probably as economical as you can possibly do anything. We try to include, we think about the cost of transportation, all the venues that you're going to do. We try to think about how much you want to spend on eating and food, and we try to keep that covered. So usually all the person has to bring is their spending money once they're able to pay for the trip. We have a system where you can go online and pay. We offer 2 payments, so you could do it by credit card, and we've evolved this from the old days where we used to only deal with checks or cash or something like that. And that just wasn't a viable way to do business. So now we have it, it's very secure. You go online, you punch in. If you want to make 2 payments, you have X amount of time to do it. And we try to make it safe and convenient and give people options if they want to do electronic check. And they don't have to do it online. They can actually they can still send their money. But we try to give everybody plenty of opportunity. If we're going to do an international trip, for example, we try to let people know a year ahead of time what kind of money they're probably going to be spending. We did a trip recently to Ireland, for example, with a group. We only took about, I think, 17 people. We tried to give them a year's warning, and once they decide they're going to do something like that, then we try to make it so that everyone is very comfortable with everyone else that they're traveling with. So we invited them every month to a dinner at each other's houses. We got to know each other. We did slideshows about Ireland. We met some people who were from Ireland who came and talked to us. So everyone was really comfortable with where they were going, what they wanted to see, what tourist traps to avoid. So on a trip like that, it's going to be more expensive, but we try to give them a lot of lead time so they can plan and save.
Did any of your guests, my daughter got to go to Ireland when she was a cheerleader in high school and everything, and she came back saying that it looks so much like West Virginia. Did a lot of them say that?
Oh, absolutely. we felt so comfortable in Ireland. Not only is the country, actually, interestingly enough, the whole country is as big as West Virginia. So you could drive from the north to the south in the same time you could in West Virginia. There's a lot of farming communities, but it's beautiful green rolling hills. And most of the people are friendly. They'll talk to you. It is like, it has every, it could be the cousin of West Virginia for sure.
I got to go to Ireland, but I managed to find out where the Guinness factory was and things like that. So I guess my trip was a little different than yours.
You have to, no, you have to go to Guinness. You have to go to the Guinness brewery, because Guinness was such a major impact on the town of Dublin. And not only did they provide the brewery, of course, but they financed almost everything in that town. So the Guinness family is very, very important to the economy of Ireland. So I don't have any problem taking anybody to the Guinness factory.
Well, I think that would be one
Guinness
thing that
brewery.
everybody would want to see. So your trips, they include transportation, hotel, and basically the meals, and they just have to figure out what they're going to spend on their own. So that's pretty well budgeted.
Yes.
Yeah.
We